Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining me in this video. I hope you're doing really well today. So for today I'm out to do some landscape photography. I'm going on a bit of a hike and I'm not really sure what to expect, but I do have some hopes for today and I'll talk about that in a little while once I make some more progress. But for now I'm going up, I believe, up over this ridgeline behind me, and then I've probably got much further to go than that, gain some further elevation. But yeah, it's going to be a fun day. I look forward to things such as this and I'm going to make some progress. So I've made a little bit more progress in my hike. My camera is set up ready to take its first image today. The light is quite bright, but I found something that may work, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But earlier in my hike, I believe I said something like, I don't know what to expect today. And that's pretty much true every time you go out to do landscape photography. You may think you know the weather forecast, but things can change. You may go somewhere new, you think you'll get a great shot, nice scenery, you come home with nothing. But regardless of that, how things can change, and I don't get my expectations too high, or at least if I don't meet my expectations, I don't get disappointed. But regardless of all that, I think it's good to have an idea in your head of what you want to achieve. So today, my first thing that's in my head, and this is in my head every time that I go out, is to remind myself to enjoy it. I do that naturally, but just remind myself how fortunate I am to be outside with my camera. I'm able to do this every week, a few days. I could do it every day of the week if I wanted, but of course you've post-processing and other things to attend to. But you know, just remind myself to really enjoy it regardless of how the photography goes. And I think that's really important because weather can change, places may not deliver what you think they would, all that sort of thing. So I remind myself to enjoy it and remind myself how fortunate I am. So that's really important, and that's in every shoot. But for this shoot specifically today, I don't have a shot in mind. I'm just about to take one. But what I would really like to do is to get an image which I think is worthy of printing and worthy of displaying on a wall. That's my ultimate goal. So if I can get one image in which I feel I've met that criteria, I'll be delighted. But I don't feel deflated if it doesn't happen. I know so much can happen. I mean, the weather in Scotland, you can just get clouds coming in all of a sudden. You can get rain, blue skies, snow, hail. You can get all seasons in one day. So I'm never disappointed, but that would be fantastic for today. If I can't do that, I just hope to get a couple of images that I really like. They may not be worthy of printing, but I think they're decent images. I've made the best of what I was given on the day, and yeah, I'll share them, and they're going to be, importantly, very nice memories. So that's my sort of goals. Always enjoy it. Today, could I get a print-worthy image? That would be fantastic. If not, one or two images that's a good memory of the day that I can share with you. That's really my aim. So let's talk about the first shot I'm going to take today. So I hope you can see this. I'm trying to shield my microphone from the wind. It's very breezy and the wind is picking up the more elevation that I gain. It's quite a tricky exposure because of the brightness of the sun. The distant hills and mountains off to my right, there is some snow on some of them and it's quite hazy, but obviously there's a lot of clarity on what's going to be my foreground. And I quite like the foreground. I found these really interesting rocks which lead off in that direction. I'm going to incorporate some of the mid-ground, so you see a little bit of the land coming out from the left of the image. And then we've got a number of peaks off in the distance, and the light is changeable, but it is very hazy off in the distance. So I'll have to see this one on the computer. I think it's quite a nice composition. I'm going to have to cut off this rock, the main rock at the bottom left of my image. I'm going to cut off the edge because if I take it all in, the composition deteriorates, and I don't mind cutting off that left rock because I want your eye to continue throughout the image. So I'm leaving plenty of space for your eye to follow the rocks through into the distance. I don't really want it drifting off to the left. And if I take in more of this rock, that will definitely happen. So I'm cutting it off here. But yeah, I mean, it looks really nice to the eye. As I say, it's very hazy off in the distance, but potentially a nice image. But yeah, we'll take this one. I'm not going to use a polarizer because I think it's going to create an uneven effect in the sky because of how I'm shooting this one. So I'm just going to accept the light as is and capture this one, pack up and move on. So just a quick update on how the hike is going. I've been trying to gain a lot of elevation today, and I've had the option of going over some of these peaks here, these ridge lines, and there's a few other options, but I've been concerned about the amount of grey cloud cover. However, some blue has opened up, and I do have the choice. I was contemplating going up there, or, hello there if you can see my shadow, this peak off in the distance here. So the sky behind it has cleared, which gives me hope, because my alternative plan was to go up in this peak here and shoot in that direction, or at least see what's available in that direction. So I think I'm going to keep going this way, but it really has been difficult going. I honestly feel so far I've walked more in terms of elevation than I have in distance from my starting point. So most of my progress has been a very steep incline. Now there's still a lot of incline to go, but not nearly as steep, I think, as what I've done so far. So off in this direction I go, and hopefully the weather is going to turn out nice and make it all worthwhile. At the moment I've still got a little bit of hope for getting a print. You never know, but I like to keep my expectations in check, and if the weather goes against me, it may not even be worth going to this peak. It's been incredibly changeable, some nice light, but a lot of dark grey cloud. This direction has looked particularly ominous, but at the moment it's looking okay, so on we go. So I'm getting a little bit closer, but regardless of how it looks on the video, I still have got quite a bit to go. But I just wanted to show you what I was talking about earlier. It's been a few minutes since I recorded that clip, but just look at those clouds, and where there was nice light on these ridges and peaks here, now it's all very grey, rather than that little opening of blue about in the centre of the video there. So yeah, it's the temperature's dropped. It almost feels like there's rain in the air, or the possibility of rain. There's not been any yet, but yeah, in these types of environments I definitely don't rule it out. But fingers crossed those clouds will pass, and I'll see something exciting for my photography. So I've just stopped for another quick update. I've really just been scrambling all over this type of terrain. It really is tough going, and I'm hoping that may be the peak there. It's still a long way off. It's still quite a lot of elevation I have to gain over this type of terrain, so it's not easy. But yeah, there's just been a lot of false ridge lines, a lot of elevation gained. It's quite a struggle, but the scenery is starting to look really nice off in the distance. Quite a lot of cloud cover and so on. Bright at the moment in this direction, but there's a lot of cloud cover, some hazy type light, so I need to keep going. I'm going to reach the top and have a look around, see how things look from a photography perspective. Yeah, what an amazing view at the top, but yeah, not one for people who don't like heights, I don't think. It's extremely wild up here, quite cold, probably doesn't show in the video, but yeah, I'm going to have a look around and see what I think for the best photography shot. Maybe one shot, maybe two, we'll see. What a time for my audio to fail on location. Landscape photography can be relaxing, but at this moment I was battling strong winds, it was bitterly cold, the light was starting to become amazing, and I was a bit nervous of the sheer drop in front of me, which of course the wind was wanting to blow me and my camera equipment towards. I don't know what happened to the audio, but I can remember what I said and what I felt at this special moment as I captured one of my photographs. The wind noise was loud and I was concerned the audio would be bad, but of course it completely failed. I mentioned how the light was becoming really good and it was falling in all the right places for my photography, which got me incredibly excited. I remember trying to capture these special moments as I was filming, and there was a lot going on as I stood high amongst these amazing mountains. Vibration from the wind was definitely a concern, and it was something I tried to shield my camera and tripod from as best I could. I discussed how cold it was, and even though video hides so much, I'm sure that I look cold, which speaks volumes. If you look closely at the video, you may notice a few short pauses because I suddenly felt quite emotional. On location, I said how there can often be great effort put into my landscape photography, and often it is for absolutely nothing. However, stood here at this moment, I felt incredibly fortunate. I knew it could all have been for nothing, but I felt that I was capturing something quite special in my photograph, and I felt very thankful. There were also thoughts running through my head which I didn't speak aloud on location. I was thinking about the effort I had made to be here right now at this moment, not just the climb, not just the travelling, not just the preparation, but a number of personal sacrifices that had to be made for me to be here at this very moment. I certainly felt very emotional and very thankful. So I've been looking at trying to get another image up here. I've been surveying all the possible options, and I've been seeing a shot off in this direction here. I think I may prefer the first image that I've taken, but this is unbelievable. I just put on the camera to show you what was happening here behind me. The whole scene behind me, including the photograph that I just spoke about that I was taking, I couldn't see anything. It was complete fog. And literally it just engulfed the whole area, and within 30 seconds it's gone. Unbelievable. The scene I was taking was completely covered. It's starting to look really nice again, so I'm going to fire off a couple more exposures there. But it's so changeable, it really is. I don't know if you'll see it, it's not near as much. I've maybe just missed it again, but it's just blowing past again. And the scene this direction now is covered and it's starting to clear again. It's unbelievable. Maybe you can see some of it. It's much lighter now. It's difficult exposure, this, but every time I look around it stops. But it was really thick just a few seconds ago. This way is looking amazing. I need to take another shot. Well, there goes my view, if you can see it. Wow, what changeable weather. It's bitterly cold now. There's even a bit of moisture getting over everything. I'd really hope you can hear me because the weather is just horrendous now. It's very cold. There's a moisture in the air. But before I get a little bit of shelter just to talk some more and finish this video, I just want to say that anyone watching photography videos on YouTube, be they landscape, basically outdoor videos or hiking or anything, just always be very careful because it looks glamorous, but yeah, the weather can change so quickly. There's a lot of effort involved, and some places are quite treacherous when you're hiking. There's a sheer drop just in front of me here, so yeah, just always be very careful. The videos don't always paint the true picture of where people are, I don't think. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to get out of this cold and finish off the video. So I've moved down off the top and it's a tiny bit better, but it is still very bitterly cold. It was brutal up the top, really difficult conditions, freezing cold. My left hand's going numb at the moment. It's still so cold down here, and I hope you can see behind me that cloud. That's what that low cloud, almost fog-like, that's what completely engulfed the scene up top. I feel incredibly lucky to have got the images that I did, because if I'd been a bit later in getting up, or a bit earlier as well, I think, because it looked quite grey on the way up, but yeah, I probably would never have got those images. Now the question is, did I get a print-worthy image? At this moment I'm going to say there's hope. I don't know for sure. You will see this video, you're watching this video at the moment. For me, it won't appear on my YouTube channel probably for many weeks, just due to the other commitments in my photography, other things I have to do, but also I like to review these images, edit my favourite one and let it rest and review it and look back at it over a period of weeks just to see what I feel about it and see if it's worth printing, because that was my main hope today, to get a print-worthy image. And I don't immediately know if I've got that. It's going to need to be viewed on the computer, it's going to need edited, and as I say, left for a few weeks, but there's certainly hope. And you'll know in just a few seconds if I feel it's worth printing. So here are the other photographs that I captured during those hectic moments that you saw in the video. A few weeks have passed since the day I captured these. I've revisited them over time and I've made subtle tweaks to my edits. They are all genuine reflections of the moments that I experienced and nothing has been added, removed or had significant editing. I now comfortably feel that all 3 photographs on screen are worthy of printing, and also that they work very well together as a set. I'm currently giving some thought as to where I want to display these 3 photos as a set, the size I want to print them and how I want to display them. Of the 3 photos, this photograph is my personal favourite and one that I captured around the time or just before my microphone cut out. I'm really pleased with it for many reasons and I could go into great detail as to why, but I will just summarise a few key points. I put a lot of effort into the composition and was then fortunate to get beautiful golden light falling in all the right places. I was also delighted to have the perfect sky, and I took all these factors and much more into careful consideration when finalising my composition. With some work I have managed to create a print that matches the photograph extremely well. Any difference you see in this video is simply due to camera profiles, lighting, reflective surfaces, etc. etc. There is often something special about a print, a special feeling that it creates inside the viewer. I obviously love the digital image that I captured, but when looking at the print I really feel that I am back on the edge of that sheer drop, looking out across a beautiful landscape which was painted by the amazing golden light. I'm so pleased with the print that it is now available to purchase through my website. As I mentioned earlier, I feel that I captured 3 photographs that work very well together, so I have also created a box set of 3 prints and made that available too. If any of these prints are of interest to you, please check out my website. I'm always incredibly grateful to anyone who likes my work enough to purchase a print. Thank you. So I'm going to make my way down. You can probably see behind me just how it is now. It's no use for photography anymore. I'm really hoping you can hear me okay. It's so windy, it's so cold, it's just difficult conditions because of the wind direction and where I am. There's no real shelter, so I really hope you can hear me. But anyway, thank you so much for watching as always. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot. I've really enjoyed my time out today. Now it's all about getting back down and getting warm, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video.